of what's out there to help you to go grow and build a business. Okay, so I hope that that's good news. So let me just adjust this around a little bit. Okay, so people out there remotely, they can kind of see what's going on. So even like with this, if I want to adjust to the screen some.
Obviously, they do this stuff, they don't do it for free. But we're doing it because we're doing our best to give you guys the best.
Watch what's going to happen. It's going to adjust because I focus on the screen, so the camera's going to go over and adjust and then focus in on the screen. So it's just really good stuff. And this is some expensive equipment, but it's worth it to get information out to you to help you. Okay, so now you got it. So go ahead and kill your online stuff because obviously you're getting the echo and the time delay. Okay, so if you would go ahead and kill all of that. I'm going to kill mine off here, but I'm going to keep mine live here because this is how I'm operating it for the people that are remote.
Let's go sign completely out.
Yeah, just go ahead and sign out. I mean, I'm here with you, so you're good. But there are people who are logged in remote from St. Louis or Georgia, wherever else we have people. So now they're plugged in and they're able to hear and participate in what we've got going on in today's class. Okay, so one of the things we're going to be working on today is we're going to be working on. You want me to work on double dip, right? Is that correct, Mac?
Yes.
Okay. The double dip is a concept that we've put together, which is absolutely off the chart incredible, at helping people to position themselves that they succeed. One of the things that we were talking about, and I shared with the RVPs today, when we were at lunch, well, no, on our call this morning, then to talk again with Mac and with Efrain, and I hope you guys get a chance to hear from him a little bit today. Is understanding, how can I best say this, the life cycle and where we are in what I call the life cycle. Because all of us are in a life cycle. If you're living, you're in the cycle. If you die, you're in the cycle. Because nothing leaves the earth, it just cycles. Okay, now, I don't know, but ma'am, how old are you?
I'm 43.
43, okay. So 44 years ago, you were not in existence.
I wasn't.
No way.
I was in making.
Huh?
She said she was in making.
No, before they did the making. Before that, you were just out in space like the rest of us. You were particles of some other thing. Because you didn't get shot to Earth. You came from Earth. So we all are just in the cycle. It depends on where we are in the cycle. So currently we're in what I call the life cycle. And there's 4 phases of the cycle that we need to work with our clients on dealing with. And the first one is simply the accumulation phase, because we're talking about investments today. And the first phase that our clients are in the accumulation phase, and that's where they need to be working at. We need to help them to start accumulating money to prepare for the concept known as retirement. Retirement has become critical in the United States for reasons. They're good. But one of the main reasons is we don't die at 67 anymore. You know, we used to retire at 65 and died at 67. That's why men never wanted to retire. And I say men because primarily men worked out of the house, women worked in the house. They didn't retire. They were homemakers. Okay, so not a discount to women. But they retired at 65 and passed away at 67. That's generally what happened. That will happen to my grandfather and many others. Well, because of medical technology, we're now living, right, the average is probably about 83, but 50%, if you're a couple of 65, and I'm going to discuss that too, that you have a 50% chance to live to 93. That's incredible. So that means realistically, people are going to be retired 1/3 of their life. So retirement is really a critical thing. Social Security is telling people every day, there's not enough money. There's not enough money. We're going to run out. They're telling us that every day. Do you know why they tell us that every day?
Prepare.
Prepare. So when it does happen, it's not a revolt. That's why they're doing it. That's why they soften us up. When it finally happens, they say, damn, they've been telling us it ain't going to happen. Because they've been softening us up to tell us they're going to run out. So we don't revolt on the government. Okay? So that is a problem. Ratio now is like 1 to 2.9. It's going to go to 1.2. In other words, a retiree to people who are putting in, not enough money. Just not enough money. Okay, so we need to help people through the accumulation stage. The next is the protection stage. And the protection stage really, I should say, the accumulation stage begins when somebody first gets started. The moment that they're born, we should have our clients starting to help their children to accumulate money. Okay, they should start. I think there's one of the presentations in How Money Works, and it says that when a child is born, if the parent takes $1,000 and put it away, when a child turns 65, they'd have $400 and something thousand. A one-time deposit of $1,000 and a child is 65, they'd have about $450,000. Man, everybody getting a child, wouldn't you find $1,000 and then don't tell your kid about it, so they don't get it and buy a new Camaro with some bad tires? Okay, and spend every damn dime, right? So the accumulation starts at birth, and I think the accumulation phase starts to transition away as they're approaching 50, 55, in that range. And that brings us to the second stage, which the second stage is protection. Protection is the stage where people have accumulated this money and they need to protect it from market volatility. Okay, people should be concerned with market volatility. When 2008 happened, the stock market basically dropped almost 50% in less than 6 months. So that means if you had a portfolio and your portfolio was worth $1 million, overnight you had $500,000. Well, at $1 million, if you're living off that for retirement at 5%, that is $50,000 a year. That's a decent retirement. It ain't rich by nobody's standard, but that's a decent retirement. Well, all of a sudden, you had two choices. Keep drawing the $50,000 a year and run out of money, or cut your retirement income down to $2,500. Neither one of them are a good choice. Or what many people end up doing through that phase, they end up going back to work because they could not afford no longer to be retired. So protection is extremely important. That's the second stage that people need to be in, is protection. And what people primarily need to protect at this stage, yes, you want to protect your principal, but not necessarily. You want to protect the income that the principal provides. See, when people retire, they don't go take their $1 million and say, I got it. They want to turn that into an income stream. Okay, so during the protection phase, we're going to use annuities to help them to do that. Again, during the accumulation stage, we're going to be using mutual funds, okay, to help people with that. The second stage, we're going to use annuities primarily to help people protect, because annuities protect the income. The income is guaranteed on an annuity. Is that correct? Right? Yes, it is. Okay, if a client has a variable annuity, is the principal guaranteed? No, it's not. A variable annuity can go up or down in the marketplace. Okay, so the principal is not guaranteed. However, the income is guaranteed. The income can only go up. Can it ever go south? No. Okay, so you can say that with confidence. And when you're dealing with your clients, you've got to be able to speak with confidence. You got to understand, when you're dealing with clients and their retirement assets, this is what they have worked for their whole dadgum life. They're not going to give their money to you and to me if we sound unsure and don't know what the heck we talking about. That don't work. I'm not sure. Let me check. No. When I got the doctor in there doing heart surgery on me, I don't want him talking about let me check. Hell, I want you to know. Right? We ain't going to be doing no doubting. I'm not sure. Nurse, give me the book. Hold on, what's up, doc? You told me you're the greatest surgeon in the city. Okay, so protection. Now, in a fixed index annuity, is the principal guaranteed? Yes, it is. The principal is guaranteed. Again, these are, I can tell by how you guys are responding. You're not responding because you're unsure and you don't want to be wrong. Respond, and you'll learn how to get it right. Be engaged. The more you engaged you are, the more you'll learn what we're doing, and you'll become confident in this. If you want people to give you the money, you got to be both confident and competent. In the beginning, you need to be more confident than competent. If you had to pick which one, be confident.
Right.
We're going to help you to make sure that you're competent with what you did.
Yeah.
Okay? Because, yeah, obviously we don't want to give clients misinformation, but you need to become, Primerica has, through our safeguards and stuff, we work to make sure that you can't screw up a client. So you can't go wild, wild west at Primerica and do what you want. They got a department called Compliance and OGC. And they work to make sure that we stay in the box that we're supposed to be in. Okay, so with a fixed index annuity, is the principal guaranteed?
Yes.
Yes. Can the client lose money?
No.
No. So can the client lose money? No. Okay? So once the client has a baseline of income on the income side, can that income ever go south? Can it ever go less?
No.
No. It can only go or stay the same. Okay? Now, when people retire, what their primary concern is income, not principal. Now, principal is important. I'm not discounting it, but income is the real thing.
Yep.
Because if you're retiring at 65, 67, 93 is, hey, that's 1/3. Okay, so that's the next thing. So protection is the second phase that people need to be concerned with. So we use fixed and variable, depending on the client's risk tolerance and the amount of assets that they have, is going to determine which vehicle that you use. When you're using, let me give you my viewpoint of the protection phase. With the fixed index annuity, if my client is going to be starting immediate income, like we're talking about a double dip, should I do this now? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Okay, so if they're going to be starting immediate income and their risk tolerance or their assets are not greater than 50 or their risk tolerance is, I'm really scared of the market, then the fixed index is the vehicle to use. I primarily use the AIG annuity. And the reason I use the AIG annuity, because the client can potentially continue to get a pay raise even after they started distribution. So even if the principal amount is less than the income side, because there's two sides to an annuity, right?
Right.
You have the income side and you have the cash side. Okay, you have cash and you have income, okay? When you start drawing money out, is the cash probably going to go down? Yes.
Yeah.
However, because the way it works with, and I use the multiplier, I don't use the guaranteed 6, I use the multiplier, because with the multiplier, the client can again potentially get a pay raise until age 95.
Wow.
Okay, or until they run out of cash. So when they run out of cash, there's nothing to multiply against, so therefore the amount is 0. And on the Lincoln, on the AIG, it's not the percentage that they get is not of income is not based on the principal in the account. It's based on the interest rate of the sub funds, the indexes that you used. So the client might have $1,000 in the account and it earned 10%. The client will get a 10% bump on their income because the income is based on the percentage of gain, not the dollar amount of gain.
Right.
Okay, y'all with me?
Right.
Okay. So you said, well, Charles, how you learn, eh? I ask a lot of questions and screwed up a lot. And ask a lot of questions until I get clarity. I mean, I learn no different than anybody else. Read and ask questions. It's a good thing to do. Are you super? I'm not no daggum genius. I just do stuff a lot. Mac was talking to Sharon Estrada about repetition being the mother of learning. Okay, so the fixed index, in my opinion, AIG is the one to use. Again, and I use the models I use is I do currently 1 year and the Merrill Lynch 25% 1 year average and 2 years in the PINCO 75% there, and that's the model that I use. And I'll show you some examples of that. And then again on the income, I use the multiplier because they can continue to get a pay raise potentially to age 95, as long as the market performs at a positive and there's cash in the account. So that's a good thing. However, with a fixed index annuity, the way the history shows, they potentially run out of cash faster than the variable annuity. Okay? Now, with a variable annuity, if my client is comfortable with a VA, okay, I use Lincoln's variable annuity. If I'm doing immediate income, I use the Lincoln's variable annuity. Now you say, well, Charles, why do you do the Lincoln variable annuity as opposed to the AIG variable annuity?
Why, Charles?
Why what?
Why do you use the Lincoln as opposed to AIG?
That's a very good question. The reason that I use the Lincoln variable annuity as opposed to the AIG variable annuity, because with the AIG variable annuity, once the client starts distribution, if we start immediate, the scenarios I'm talking about is immediate distribution. If the client is starting immediate distribution, boy, that got better, didn't it? Excuse me. With the Lincoln, with the AIG variable annuity, when they start distribution, if the cash side is less than the income side, the only way the client can get a raise is when the cash side is equal to or greater than the income, which is very difficult to do if you're drawing income out of it. So when you're starting to draw income out, look, see what you got to figure out. All the companies are going to make about the same amount of money on their product. You just got to figure out where they got, what feature they give you, what feature they take away. Let's just say their margin is 12% that they're going to make on product. You got to figure out which feature benefits works best for your client. I don't have a loyalty to company, except Primerica. I have a loyalty to my client. Okay? So with the Lincoln, with the AIG variable annuity, say if you got $100,000 and they start out with, so the income's 100 based on 100, and the client starts drawing money out, he's at 95. The only way he can get a raise over here is if there's enough gain between market performance that it gets equal to or greater than the 100 again. So when you're at 80, man, it's almost impossible because you're sucking money out every year for income. It's almost impossible to get a pay raise. So that's why the AIG does not work. With the Lincoln, the client can continue to get a pay raise even when the cash side is less than or equal to the income side. The client can continue to get a pay raise during the distribution phase. That's very important. Do y'all agree?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay. The client can continue to get a pay raise as long as there's cash in the account. Okay? And based on the historical performances that we've seen, that lasts basically an infinite amount of time. Okay, so now with the second phase, so protection. So we're going to use annuities because annuities protect income. And again, the client's depending on the risk tolerance. They'll use a fixed or a variable depending on where they are, how they feel. The third thing is longevity. The reason that annuities are extremely important because annuities guarantee income for how long?
Life.
For who's all life? Them and their spouse. That's important. Them and their spouse. When I go through the presentation, I'm going to address what I believe are 4 major concerns that people, if they have not thought about, you're going to plant in their mind because they're serious. So longevity is extremely important. Then the third, or the last one, of course, is legacy. Legacy is when we go back to the earth. When we go back to the earth, do you have children, ma'am?
Yes.
How many?
4.
4. And I don't know what your life was like getting started in life, but would you want your children's life to get started be better than yours was?
Absolutely.
Me too. And that's what legacy is that we want to pass on not just memories and photographs, but let's pass on some assets. Let's do what other people have done. The Jewish people seem to be about the best at it. They pass on inheritance. They have obeyed the Bible. It says you're supposed to pass on houses and inheritance. Right? Did I make this up or is this true? Okay? So that's what we need to do. So when we set this up properly, and again, I think a variable annuity is a great opportunity because you can continue to have the asset longer than the fixed index annuity. On the cash side, continues to be there. Both of them pay income for life. Now we can set up a legacy to the next generation. Okay, so those are the 4 phases that I call inside of the life cycle. Any questions about this? I need power. I'm going to need power. Power, power, power. Where's my backpack? Right here. That's the strawberry. Do you have a plug over here, Lane, somewhere?
Yep.
Okay, you gonna give me some juice there? Yeah, it is heavy. It's a working man bag. It's a working man bag.
Okay, I got power right here.
Smiling the other day. Smiling, sitting there looking so dang, I'm serious. You got me scared. We're gonna be all right. What's her name?
Vonda.
Vonda?
Vonda.
Vonda got me scared.
I'm always in business and my mind just be
We're
plugged
good.
in.
We're good, Vonda. I'm just messing with you, dog. Okay? Jeff will tell you I'm all right.
Okay.
I don't bite that often. Right, Jeff?
You didn't say not at all, just not at all.
That's right. You're right, Elaine. You're telling them everything. We're good?
No, wait a minute.
You got power?
Not all the way in. I have to move something.
That big thing. We ain't using that. I know whatever that big thing is. I know we're not using that. We ain't using it. I hope so. Okay. All right, well, we got power again, okay?